Tonight, you're going to check your bank balance without even thinking about it. You'll open the app, you'll glance at the number. Maybe it's higher than last week, maybe it's lower. Either way, you'll close the app and move on with your day, the same way you always do. But here's the strange part. You make more money than you did 5 years ago, maybe a lot more. So why does it never feel like enough? You got the raise, you got the promotion, you finally cracked 6 figures, or you finally paid off the car, or you finally landed the job you used to dream about at your old desk. And somehow, the relief you expected never fully arrived. The bills still stretch to meet the paycheck. The savings account still looks thin. You're not broke the way you were in your 20s, but you're not free either. What's actually happening with your money is far stranger than bad luck or bad discipline, because you haven't failed at managing money. You've succeeded at something your brain was built to do automatically, and almost nobody warned you about it. Let's start with the number itself. Your salary? When you picture making more money, you probably picture a clean equation. More income in, more savings out. Simple math. But money doesn't move through your life like water through a straight pipe. It moves through your psychology first. And your psychology has a default setting that fights against you the moment your income rises. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation. The researcher most associated with it, Sonia Lyubomirsky, spent years studying why people return to a baseline level of satisfaction no matter what happens to them. Win the lottery, get the dream job, buy the bigger house. Within months, sometimes weeks, the excitement fades and a new normal quietly replaces the old one. Your brain doesn't compare your life to where you started. It compares your life to where you are right now, this week, this month. And once it adjusts, it needs the next thing to feel the next hit of relief. This is why the raise doesn't fix anything for long. You get the new number on your paycheck. For a while, everything feels lighter, but your baseline moves with it. The studio apartment that once felt like an accomplishment starts to feel small. The used car starts to feel embarrassing next to a coworker's new one. The vacation that once felt like a luxury starts to feel like something you're owed every year. Nothing external changed except your income. Everything internal changed to match it. There's a name economists use for the specific version of this that happens with money: lifestyle inflation. Your spending rises in step with your earning, almost silently, almost automatically. Notice that word, automatically. This isn't a character flaw. It isn't proof that you're bad with money. It's a documented, measurable, near universal pattern in human behavior. You were never taught to expect it, so when it happens to you, it feels personal. It isn't personal. It's just how the mind resets its sense of enough. So if your brain keeps moving the finish line, what actually determines whether you get ahead? This is where behavior matters more than income. Richard Thaler, the economist who helped found the field of behavioral economics, spent decades studying a concept called mental accounting. His research showed that people don't treat all money the same, even though a dollar is a dollar no matter where it comes from. A bonus feels different from a paycheck. A tax refund feels different from savings. Money that arrives unexpectedly gets spent more freely, almost like it was never really yours to begin with. Thaler's work revealed something uncomfortable. The way you categorize money in your head has more influence over your spending than the actual amount sitting in your account. Think about your own raise for a second. Did you sit down and redirect that extra income into savings or investments the moment it landed, or did it quietly dissolve into slightly nicer groceries, a few more takeout orders, a subscription you forgot to cancel, a slightly better apartment? Most people never make an active decision here. The money simply flows toward the next available comfort. And because no single purchase feels irresponsible on its own, the pattern is nearly invisible while it's happening. There's a second, deeper force working against you here, one that goes beyond spending habits. It's about who you believe you're spending for. Hal Hershfield, a psychologist who studies decision-making, ran a series of experiments using brain imaging to see how people think about their future selves. What he found was unsettling. When people imagined their future self, the brain activity looked strikingly similar to how people think about a completely different person, not a future version of themselves, a stranger. This is why saving money can feel so difficult, even when you know, logically, that you should be doing it. You're not choosing between spending now and saving for yourself later. On some level, your brain is choosing between a real present version of you and an abstract, distant stranger who happens to share your name. Doesn't that explain a lot? It explains why the future feels so easy to postpone. It explains why "I'll start saving next month" is one of the most repeated promises people make to themselves and rarely keep. Your brain isn't lazy. It's doing exactly what evolution built it to do, prioritizing the immediate, tangible present over an abstract future that doesn't feel real yet. So you have three forces working against you at once: hedonic adaptation, resetting your sense of enough; mental accounting, making new income feel disposable rather than deliberate; and a psychological distance from your future self that makes saving feel like a favor for a stranger. None of this shows up on a bank statement. It happens quietly underneath every transaction, shaping decisions you never consciously made. Now here's the twist. If your spending rises automatically to match your income, then the traditional advice to just earn more solves almost nothing on its own. This is the counterintuitive part. People who eventually build wealth rarely do it by simply making more money. They do it by interrupting the automatic connection between income and spending on purpose, before their brain gets the chance to adapt. There's a concept from the world of software development that economists have borrowed to describe personal finance. Parkinson's law, originally about how work expands to fill the time available for it. The financial version is just as accurate. Spending expands to fill the income available for it. Give yourself more time, you'll use it. Give yourself more money, you'll spend it. Unless you build a structure that removes the choice entirely. This is why the people who build real financial security don't rely on willpower. Willpower fights against automatic psychological forces every single day, and it loses more often than it wins. Instead, they remove the decision. Money moves into savings or investments the moment it arrives, before it has the chance to be mentally categorized as spendable. The raise gets partially redirected before the new spending habit ever has a chance to form. The baseline never gets the opportunity to reset, because the money is already gone from view before hedonic adaptation kicks in. Daniel Kahneman, whose research on decision-making reshaped how economists understand human behavior, showed something else relevant here. People feel the pain of losing money roughly twice as intensely as they feel the pleasure of gaining the same amount. This is loss aversion, and it explains why automatic saving works so well. If money is automatically moved before you see it, you never experience it as a loss. It was simply never available to spend in the first place. But if that same amount sits in your checking account and you have to consciously transfer it away, it registers as a loss, and loss aversion makes you resist it, even when you know it's the right move. This is the quiet difference between people who feel stuck, no matter how much they earn, and people who feel like they're finally getting somewhere. It's rarely about income at all. It's about which side of the paycheck the important decisions happen on. Before the money lands, where it moves automatically, or after the money lands, where your adapted, present-focused, loss-averse brain gets a vote in every single purchase. So the next time your paycheck hits your account, or the next time you get the raise you've been chasing, pay attention to what happens in the days right after. Watch how quickly your sense of enough quietly shifts to match the new number. Watch how easily the extra income slides toward comfort instead of toward the future. None of this makes you careless. It makes you human. But once you can see the pattern, you can build around it instead of being run by it. Tonight, you're going to check your bank balance again. But this time, you'll know that the number staring back at you was never just a measure of how much you earned. It was a measure of how well you understood your own mind.